last camp got cut short. So
Right, yeah, you had the injury bug last year, so it
Yeah.
feels a little bit better. It's a good summer.
Yeah, it's been a good summer. I kept myself busy because in the summers you have a lot more time.
Yeah.
So I didn't really want to just have football in the mornings and then do nothing the rest of the day. So I got an internship this summer. So I kept myself really busy.
Where were you interning at?
This company is called TannerKnue. It's a worldwide company, but they have an office that's actually in Ford Field.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, because Ford Field has office spaces. They built inside of Ford Field. They built like a hotel. They were going to name it like the Marriott at Ford Field, but no one ended up signing that deal. No hotel company or anything like that. So they just made it office space, and then TannerKnue. That's where they are.
What'd they have you doing?
I was a software engineer intern,
Okay.
so I was learning about all the technologies of the company and just soaking it all in. So it was a really good experience.
So getting to go to Ford Field every day, how much more has that fired you up to get back there for a MAC championship?
It's so much motivation because we were there for the Quick Lane Bowl, and they have a office section for the Quick Lane Bowl. I looked through it, and they still have an Eastern and Pitt helmet. So I mean, that itself, losing the Quick Lane Bowl in the very end of the fourth quarter, that's a lot of motivation. And then seeing that our helmet's still up there, and just how much support we had that game was huge. And it's just so much motivation to get back there. And my time being here, I've never won the MAC championship or won a bowl game, and that's a huge goal of mine and a lot of my teammates.
Looking back to getting started in the whole football world, I mean, you were a guy that football was a little late in the game for you. You were basketball originally, right?
Yeah.
What prompted you to decide, hey, I want to try football?
Yeah. So I grew up playing football, and then I took some time off playing football, and then I thought I was a basketball player, and then I kind of got into a situation where basketball can be more of an individual sport, so I didn't really like that. I like to be a part of a team, a brotherhood, and my high school football team, that's what they preached. So I fell in love with that, the culture of brotherhood and just being around a bunch of good guys. That's something I wanted to do, and then I was hooked, and I was like, I got to keep playing. Like 1 year's not enough to satisfy me. So I got lucky because a past quarterback here, his name's Preston Hutchinson. We went to the same high school. We were on the same JV basketball team. I contacted him, let him know I wanted to keep playing football, and he got me he put in a word to get me a preferred walk-on spot here. And I always knew, I was like, I can play at the Division I level. I reached out to a bunch of Division I schools, and they wouldn't even accept me as a preferred walk-on. So I got really lucky knowing someone on a Division I team and to get my foot in the door, which is all I needed.
How much do you look back and say, man, it's pretty wild that they were able to take a risk on me given that track record, and to where you are now was a guy that was an all-MAC team selection and everything like that. I mean, it's a very storybook story that you tell.
Yeah, so I talk about it with my family all the time about how like lucky and blessed I am, and like how like the chips could have fallen like a different way. Like I'd just be a normal student somewhere. Like I thought about being, when I was in high school, I thought about being just a normal student at a local school by my house, but I got lucky and I got an opportunity, and that's all I could have asked for.
Last year, you talked about the injury, being away from the game. How much does that make you appreciate it more once you have it back?
Oh my, it just makes you like cherish all the opportunities you have, because you think you have all the time in the world to play football, when in all actuality you don't, and there's only limited number of opportunities. And I just remember like every day it was getting harder and harder to watch practice, to watch games, but I was trying to do my best to support my teammates throughout that time, but I was definitely struggling, like just watching and not being able to be out there with them. So it just definitely makes you cherish every moment you get to be out on the field.
Watching Dylan, watching Haas and the rest of the wide receivers, how do you each go about making each other better?
I think not only me, Haas, and Dylan, and the rest of the receiving core, like we have a really, really good group of receivers, and I think it's just like when you see someone else make a play, that makes you want to make a play, and it's just like a competitiveness that we hold each other to a high standard. So I think just competing with each other, competing against the defense is just something that raises the level of everybody's play. So
Haas talks a lot about having fun. As wide receivers, I mean, you guys can have a little more fun on the outside. What's the best part of your group and being together?
I think it's definitely fun out in practice, definitely fun out in the field, but I think outside of football is the most fun, and just having conversations with people and really building a relationship with everybody in the receiving room and on the team. That's my favorite part, is just being around everybody, and I think that's a lot of fun.
If I was to ask another teammate a word or two to describe you, what would you hope they would say?
I'd hope the first thing is I'd hope they say I'm hardworking. That's something I want everyone to think about me, is that I'm a hard worker. And the second thing is unselfish, probably. I want people to think that I have their best interests at heart, because that I actually do. I want everybody to succeed. I want everybody to do good. I pray for everybody's health. So yeah, those are the two things.
You still get nervous before games, little butterflies, or is it pretty calm now?
No, I actually never got nervous before games, because the pre-game routine, it's like one thing after another. You can't even think about the game, actually. The first game I remember I really got to play was Kent State during 2020, which was COVID, and I thought I was going to be nervous, but I never was, because I was so focused on where I had to be for each part of warm-ups and stuff like that. And I never really got nervous. And then one trick I try to do is I try not to make more of what it is, because I think you're better when you play free, and I don't think you should put so much pressure on yourself for the game. I think if you practice hard, you work hard, you lift hard, those things will benefit you in the game. So if I pride myself on my preparation, if my preparation's good, there's no reason to be nervous.
Wide receivers and defensive backs have a history of kind of going at it with each other and some trash talking. I don't see you being a big trash talking guy, but what's it like going on the other side when they're getting in your face and telling you you're not as good, but you just go and catch the ball?
Well, yeah. So we definitely have some friendly competition between us and the corners, but I do trash talk a little bit. I like to. It's more of a friendly trash talk. I don't really try to get too hostile, because one thing I try to do is if a corner gets to me, I try not to let them show that they got to me, because then if they know they affected me mentally, then they win. Yeah. So yeah, that's my strategy when it comes to trash talking.
Stack 'em, the kind of overall theme for the year. What does it mean to you, and how have you embraced it?
I think this is a perfect theme for our team, because I've been a part of a lot of Eastern teams, which is weird to say because I still feel like I'm the young guy. But I think it's perfect for this team, because we've always been so good at coming back from a bad experience. Like after we lose a game, we come back even stronger. Yep. But the thing that this team needs to overcome that prior teams haven't overcome is when we achieve success, we gotta keep stacking them, and that's the perfect theme for us. And the way I've thought about that is every rep, every practice, every period. The previous thing doesn't matter. I got to take care of what's happening now. So that's how I thought about it.
Away from football, what do you like to do? I mean, I talked to a guy like Alex Howie. He's a fishing guy. Taylor is a kind of a golf guy. What's kind of your thing on enjoying time away from the game?
That's a hard question right now, because I've kept myself so busy. Like the last semester I graduated, so I took 17 credit hours, and it was the hardest semester of my life. So I didn't really have much free time then. And then this summer I kept myself super busy. But the thing that probably I would say is I love watching movies because all my friends, they watch so many movies and I'm trying to catch up to them. What else? I love hanging out with friends. Like what I've noticed recently is I've hung out with people more. I usually like to sit in my room, but I've realized like my college career is coming closer and closer to an end, and I'm not going to be around these guys as much. So I want to get out and hang out with as many people as I can because you never like it's coming to an end soon. So
Could Joe Burrow get the Bengals back to the Super Bowl?
yes, 100%. He's the next Tom Brady. He's definitely my favorite player. I'm not really a fan of too many people. Like I like watching players, I like studying players, but I'm definitely a fan of Joe Burrow. So I hope he can, and I know he can. So I'm rooting for the Bengals.
I mean, it fell in their lap. I mean, the Bengals used to be the laughing stock of the country, and now all of a sudden they're everybody's team.
Yeah, it's because they're young. They have a lot of swagger.
How about Evan hitting the 58-yarder or whatever it was on Friday night?
I saw in an interview he said he could probably hit it from 63, 65, and the one thing I've noticed about those guys is they're winners,
Right.
and they completely change the culture, and everybody gravitates to winners, and that's why they're everybody's team now because they're winners. So
Can you see some similarities between the Bengals and Eastern, and all of a sudden it's just breaking through in that one little aspect?
I don't know about that exactly because they went from being the worst team, and now they went to the Super Bowl. I wasn't really here for Eastern when they were lows of the low of a Division I, and now we're a bowl team almost every year. So I didn't really go from that transformation because my first year I went to a bowl game.
That's true.
So yeah, I didn't really get to experience that.